Well, hey, everybody. Rhonda Boyle here with RhondaBoyle.com. And I am so excited to be here. I think we'll wait just about a half a minute and see if we can get some Facebook Livers to come join us. I'm really excited about my guest today to introduce him. Woo woo. That's right. So I think we're just going to go ahead, Andy.
Let's do it.
So welcome. Yes, I am Rhonda Boyle with RhondaBoyle.com, and I'm the founder of The Very Best You, a group right here on Facebook. And so I am very excited to introduce my friend, colleague, and my guest today, Andy Sokolovich.
Nice.
And I didn't say it right, did I?
Nobody don't feel bad.
Andy Sokolovich is a Gallup certified strengths coach, a marketer, an advertising geek, and a lover of life. And he is known as the Woo Warrior, and you're going to find out about that why in just a minute. Andy coaches professionals in the art of communication, focused on calculated clarity, maximum rate of attraction, and avoiding the painful perception pitfalls. And his StrengthsFinder ebook, 5 Steps to Kickstarting Your Top 5, provides a sense of direction to those who are asking themselves, now what? Welcome, Andy. I'm so glad you're here.
Hey, thanks for having me, Rhonda. We go way back.
We do.
Yeah. No.
How long? At least 3 years, maybe 4 years. I started doing this in the public arena in 2013. Yeah. And I know I met you shortly thereafter. When did you get introduced to StrengthsFinder? Tell us a little bit about your story and your top 5.
Sure. I'll start with my top 5. Strategic, futuristic, woo, ideation, and communication. And strengths kind of entered my life. I left the military. I was in there for 11 and a half years as an air traffic controller in the United States Air Force. And after being in the uniform for over a decade, you kind of lose a little bit of focus on who you are as an individual. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? For Homeland Defense, you're broken down, you're built back up, it's a system and it works. But when you get out and people start asking the question, so Andy, what are you good at? And you don't have a response. Ugh, that's kind of scary, right?
It is.
I decided one day I wanted to join a business. I had loved marketing and I loved advertising and had some graphic design skills. So I thought, I'm going to try this. And nobody was filling that void in the marketplace here in Clinton. So I went to the Chamber of Commerce, and the chamber president handed me a book called StrengthsFinder 2.0. And he said, why don't you take this? I believe it'll provide you with a little bit of clarity. I took the assessment, got my results, and probably a lot of people shoved them in a desk drawer for almost
I know.
And I came to him one day, same guy, and I said, my business is struggling. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And he said, what are your top 5? And I said, I respect you. I love you, man. You're like a brother to me at this point, but I couldn't tell you. And he knew it. So he said, go blow the dust off of wherever they're sitting in your desk, bring them in here, and let's start to look at some things. And we quickly realized that a bulk of my talents and what drive me, what gave me energy, was getting out and networking with people, talking to people, and really tapping into that woo and communication. Yes. What was I doing? None of that. I was in my office working on the logistics of running a business, the invoices, the proposals, basically walling myself off from everybody in the outside world, and it was killing me. And I made a switch, and I decided that strength was something that helped me, and I wanted to use it to help others. So here I am.
Wow. And you know what? That happens to a lot of us. We find ourselves in a place where we cannot use our natural talents. And then what do we wind up with? Misery, right? I really think that a lot of people are in that exact place.
Yeah. So it was a quick realization for me. It was like a beacon, and strengths acted as a compass. I was so lost, it wasn't even funny. There would be days where I come in and sit behind my computer and go, what am I doing? I'm doing this to myself because this is my business. I'm dragging myself in here every day to be unhappy. There's got to be a better way. And I made that switch, and so far, so good.
It's been amazing. Well, I sure have enjoyed you. And what we rediscovered a few minutes ago is that you and I share 7 of our top 10 StrengthsFinder talents. Yeah. So we very much operate in the world very similarly, although those little changes, I must admit, I have a little strengths envy over your strategic and futuristic being so high.
Well, it's great. It's nice having. Often my strategic doesn't show up when people say, Andy, we don't look at you as strategic. You don't have a set of blueprints or a complete business plan. Or I say, no, but I don't have something physical to show you, but guess where it's all at? Right here.
Right there in the head. And that's where strategic operates, right? As thinkers.
So I'm right here. It's all there. I just need to put it on paper. And futuristic is great because the one thing I do love is looking at what could be, not really taking advantage of what's now and what we have. I avoid best practices. That's the way we've always done it. Those things just don't work for me.
So let me real quick pop up. Dawn McNutt says she still hasn't done the test. We're going to get our noodle out in a minute, Dawn, and get to you. You can find the test at the Gallup Strengths Center, gallupstrengthcenter.com. And I believe, Andy, and I know you do too, that it is the most powerful personal and professional development tool on the market today. Kelly Belak says she has strategic sitting at number 33. So we need you, right, Andy? We need you with strategic number 1 up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's talk about, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, don't expect me to get everything done by myself. That's another realization I had, is the power of teamwork.
You know what? That's for all of us. Nothing of greatness ever happens alone, and we need other people. But here's the problem. The people that we need, we don't understand. And we don't know how to talk to them, because words matter and words mean different things for the way, your perspective and the way you're looking at things. So I think that this tool really helps with that. Well, I want to get into the book, because you've got this amazing little ebook that really gives 5 clear steps on moving forward in your strengths-based development. And, here's the thing, is that once you get the top 5 results, or the 34, then it's up to you to do something with it. Just sticking it in a drawer like you did all those years ago, it became just another test. And that makes me a little bit insane with my maximizer, But you quote in the book, you say, the concept of strengths-based development is not solely for those PhDs who understand the inner workings of the human brain. You don't need a massive amount of credentials behind your name to harness the power of strengths to enhance both your personal and professional lives. And that's what you say. And so I want you to talk about the tool and how it can be used across the whole of your life, of our lives. It's not just limited to work as a productivity tool. So share a little bit of insight in that.
So I threw something up on the Facebook group, I believe it's called Clifton Strengths Finder, and I asked them, why strengths? There's so many different tools that are out there. Why strengths? What has drawn you to this assessment? Yeah. And the answer over and over and over again that popped up was simplicity. It's easy for me to understand. And when you mentioned my quote and I talked about you don't need to be a PhD, you don't need to be somebody who understands the inner workings of the human brain to understand how this works. It's a very, very simple tool. And if applied, yes, it will help your professional life. It will help your personal life, especially with your significant other, your spouse, and your coworkers. And I just think it's one of those things where we talked about earlier before we started the broadcast. It takes time. It takes willingness. It takes dedication to sit back and realize and actually dedicate yourself to learning more about who you are. And what I love about strengths is it's so selfish, right? At the beginning, it's so selfish. And it should be, right? The focus should be on you.
Yes.
How often do we give ourselves the opportunity to look in the mirror and say, okay, I want to study you? We don't.
Right. We don't.
But 98% of our time focusing on how we're going to make others happy or how we're going to help them succeed. This is about us. This is about you taking the time to learn about how you are going to make an impact. Because until you do that, good luck trying to help everybody else, right?
That's right. Yes, and you can't really help other people unless you help them from your excess, right? Mm-hmm. And you have to fill your own cup, and by understanding who you are and how you operate, and then maneuvering, yourself so that you become the very best you. That's when you can step forward and then help other people in a more powerful way. So let's move right in. In the book, you do give some great tips. And the first one is focus. To select one of your top 5 and focus on it for a full week. What a great idea. So tell us a little more about that. Why you think that's effective.
Well, it's often mind like if you take the assessment and you get your full 34 report and somebody comes up to you and goes, here, it's like, whoa, what is all that? That's a lot of text. That's a lot of information. I barely have time to brush my teeth in the morning, yet you want me to digest all these paragraphs of information. No, let's make it simple. Here's your top 5, pick one and focus on it.
Yes.
Understand what it means, right? The whole name it, claim it, aim it type of thing, right?
Yes.
Understand what it means. When somebody asks you what your top 5 are, be able to regurgitate that information.
Yes.
And then learn to love it, right?
Right.
That's
maybe the hardest thing to do, right?
So don't get distracted by all 5 at first. Don't get distracted by full 34.
Yes.
Just pick one and demand that you're going to take some time to create some ownership of that talent and move forward.
I really like that idea. Now, your number 2 tip, I absolutely love. I think it's my favorite, and it's to share. You mentioned that StrengthsFinder should not be kept. It should not be a best kept secret. So why do you think that's important?
Well, it's just like anything. You get it out there. I mean, if it's buried below the layers of the surface of just your own brain or maybe in a desk drawer somewhere, it's doing nothing. Go out and talk to people.
Right.
For a couple reasons. If you inject it into your daily conversation, it's going to be top of mind and it's going to allow you to focus on it a little bit more aggressively. The other thing is, if you want to start developing ownership of those talents, you have to be able to tell others so that they can in turn say, you know what, you do that. Or, yeah, that really does kind of define you. Because often when we don't like our results and we say, that's not me. And then we go and we ask your girlfriend or your husband or your aunt or your uncle, and you say, hey, think of this. They go, oh, yeah, you totally do that.
You do that all the time.
No, I don't. No, I don't. And I said, no, yeah, you do. And here's some examples so you can sit back and take ownership of it. So yeah, get it out there. I mean, whenever I do my coaching stuff and I got to see, usually I have it sitting around, I buy those simple plastic table toppers that you can get for like $1 over at Walmart. And I print out their top 5 and their name and I shove it in there and say, put this on your desk. And what's cool is that I'll walk into their offices, a year later and boom.
There they are.
And they know what it is. And people come in and say, those are 5 weird words, which some of them don't even fall in the English dictionary. So what is that? And that allows you to, again, jump into a conversation of how those 5 talents help you better the organization or could help you better that individual that's sitting in front of you that day. So
sure.
It's just awesome to have it right there in plain sight.
Well, your fan club is showing up. Aaron Campbell says, Andy is a great StrengthsFinder coach and good to hear your voice again. So thanks for joining us today, Aaron. And, I really agree with that about sharing. And here's the thing. Donald Clifton once said that to develop, he said, and I think I'm going to quote him here when I say that talent development can only happen in the context of relationship. And that means other people. And so what better way to help develop yourself except through sharing and telling about your talents to other people? So, yeah. All right. Tip number 3, bottom matters. Now here you're talking about the bottom talents of the full profile. And many people don't even realize that there are 34 talent themes. They're just stuck on their top 5 because they've only initially opened those top 5, maybe through their workplace and so forth. So give us your insights on why someone should open up their full profile. And of course, that doesn't mean taking the test again. That just means going back and opening them up. But what are the advantages of knowing all 34?
Well, first of all, the advantage of only getting your top 5 is because we know what would happen if we got our full 34 from the start, right? Where do we look? Right at the bottom. It's a reason to look in the mirror in the morning, not to tell ourselves how beautiful we are, but to look for flaws, right? Do you have spinach in your teeth? That's what we're doing. We're reflecting on what we could fix. So that's you just do the top 5 at first and then let that stuff soak in. And then go back and take your full 34. And again, not retaking the assessment like you mentioned, just getting that. And look at those bottom 5. Look at those lesser talents. It doesn't mean that you don't have the ability to do those types of things, to take those types of actions, but it's a good reflection of what you need not to work on, but why you need to find that support system, that partner, that person who balances you out. There's a reason that we often find that couples are usually dominant in one set of talents, and then maybe the supporting talents for them is the dominant talents for their spouse. We're attracted to that, that opposite, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's important to know that stuff. Don't focus on it. That would defeat the whole purpose of the strengths-based movement and the strengths theory. Don't focus on it entirely on that bottom 5, but be aware of it. And like we're always taught, learn to manage those by seeking out those individuals who are dominant where, you are a little, and for lack of a better term, weak.
Yes. Well, and I agree with you. We are prone to try to fix ourselves. It's how we've been conditioned through, like, our school system, for example, is that we're constantly striving to fix those weaknesses. And the strengths-based movement takes a completely different approach. Now, I want to get to a question real quick. Shireen says that number 1 might be procrastinator for her. No, we don't believe that. But she does have a great question. Yeah. She says, over time, do we find that strengths change? Andy, I'm going to let you take that. I have my own opinions about that, and I'm going to let you take it first.
I always say that you can game the system if you want to, go back and take it again and see if it changes. I always do say that it will change based on where you're at in your life and your priorities, not drastically. And I've coached enough people to know that I've seen 6 move up to 5, 3 drop down to 7. Never have I seen somebody's 34 bump up to number 1 or even in the top 5. I've never seen that, right? For a few reasons. One, if you take it the first time, that's going to be the most genuine results. And I did a video on this at YouTube. If you just search Unleash Strengths, you can find it. That's going to be the most genuine results. Why? Because the assessment is designed for top of mind responses. Once you take it once, that top of mind, that initial reaction is gone. Now you've kind of learned what they're looking for. You learn what the responses are going to be. And you're going to game the system a little bit. Maybe subconsciously you'll do it, but you're going to do it, right? It's human nature. You're going to have the perfect top 5 in your mind. You're going to go for it. I've witnessed when women have their first child, or there's a drastic change in employment, maybe unemployment, or switch into a whole new career field. You'll see some slight adjustment, but not to the point where I feel like it's a significant flaw in the assessment results and its accuracy.
Right. I agree with you. The only other time that I would suggest that someone take it again the second time is if they took it the first time and they were very young, like between the ages of 14 to 18. If they take it then maybe 5, 7, 10 years later, they may want to take it again. Otherwise, I don't recommend it ever, because I agree with you. I've only taken it once. I know people who have taken it 6 and 7 times, which is, I don't know. I don't understand that. Some people take it accidentally more than one time because their new job gives them another assessment and they feel like they have to for the new job. And what they find is that 1 or 2 might drop out of the top 5 and then another 1 or 2 pop up. And in my opinion, now you know your top 7.
Mm-hmm.
Because according to situation, the talents are situational. Sometimes, believe it or not, I turn my communication off. Yeah. Like if I'm in church or something, my pastor wouldn't appreciate me yapping, I don't think, right in the middle of his sermon.
Yeah, I don't turn it off during church. I'm that guy that continues to be like, yeah, and that's, from the
amen. Well, let's go quickly to tip number 4. You invite us to create a strengths mind map. Now, tell us how that works.
So there's a great mind mapping tool out there called MindMeister, and I absolutely love it. And what it allows you to do, and what I tell people to do, and you can do this on a chalkboard, is take what you're trying to accomplish, write it down, and circle it like 4 times. Get crazy with the piece of chalk or marker or pen or whatever you're using. And then put little legs off of that spider. And those legs, there's going to be 5 of them because they're going to represent your 5 dominant talents, right? Your top 5. Mm-hmm. And then I want you to jot down around those ways that you can leverage that talent to meet that goal. So if my goal is to, I don't know, maybe say meet 100 new people within the next week, and I put my top 5, strategic, futuristic, woo, ideation, and communication, I'm going to write down how I can leverage my woo to meet those people. That's a gift, right? How am I going to leverage my communication? How am I going to leverage my strategic? How am I going to leverage my futuristic? Write down just in little sentences or bullets how you're going to leverage that talent to get to that point B. And I find that provides me with a lot of clarity. Why? Because it throws out everything that I'm not going to do. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
And that's like getting a 100-pound weight lifted off your chest. You realize I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. There's as much clarity in understanding what you're not going to do than in defining the steps of how you're going to get to that goal.
Sure.
that's what the mind map does for me. And I strongly encourage others to do the same thing, because it really helps you, like a sniper, focus in on your plan of attack moving forward.
Well, yeah, and you've got an example of that in the book, which is really, really great, an excellent example. Now, finally, in tip number 5, you remind us that just taking the StrengthsFinder assessment is not a magic pill. And I totally agree. Even though I'm pretty tied and loyal to StrengthsFinder, there are other ways for you to develop. It is a tool. So what other things do you suggest people do who are interested in developing themselves to their full potential? What do you suggest they do other than just taking the test?
Yeah. And when I say magic pill, I mean, there's definitely professionals out there that hype this up to the point where it's a total game changer. You know, it's kind of like those weight loss pills, 1 pill a day, and you'll never have to worry about dieting or watching what you're eating ever again. Right. This is okay. This is a tool for your arsenal of personal and professional development. There's a lot of other tools that are out there. Myers-Briggs, there's Colors. I don't really delve too deep into the rest of them because I own StrengthsFinder and I love it and it works for me. So I don't really search around for a plan B. Mm-hmm. But there's so many things that are out. Buy a book on Amazon, listen to a podcast, read a blog post. There's so many different, with the introduction of the World Wide Web and the internet, you have absolutely no excuses in today's world to say, I can't find any information on that. I can't figure out a better way to grow myself as a professional. StrengthsFinder is just one of those tools that's out there that has done a phenomenal job, but also fill that toolbox with all sorts of other things. I mean, I consume, like this little baby right here, my phone.
Yes.
It's like a library, podcasts. I mean, I listen to podcasts. I watch shows just like this. Use all of that and allow it to complement your StrengthsFinder results.
Yep. Excellent. Excellent. I love those ideas. Well, I'm so glad that you came on with us today. And so I tell you what, you have a gift for the people who are listening. So share what that is and where we can find it.
Yeah, absolutely. So as a marketer, as an advertiser, as a businessman, I wanted to know if there was ever a possibility that I could use strengths and the definitions associated with the themes to market to a specific audience. Like how does somebody with Learner decide they're going to buy a product? How does somebody with Woo make that purchase decision? And I worked a little bit, not hand in hand with Gallup, but I got their approval to create a book called Strengths-Based Marketing and Advertising. And I want to give that to your listeners for free. So if you go to unleashstrengths.com/FB Live, that's Facebook Live, FB Live, you can download that copy of the ebook, Strengths-Based Marketing and Advertising. And it's very simple to read, just theme and my description of how I feel like that theme is going to make a purchase decision. So
perfect. That'll be great for salespeople.
Yeah, absolutely.
People in their sales and marketing. Exactly. If they can identify what their target market is, then they know how to speak to them. That's what you're offering.
Yeah, absolutely. And
perfect.
It's a great piece. It's a great tool for communication.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, Andy, it has been so good to see you and reconnect. And I am just so grateful that you would come on and share your knowledge about StrengthsFinder and what it has done for you and these 5 tips that I hope people will follow. And so I'll give you the last word real quick. Anything you'd like to share?
Well, I'm going to go dye my hair pink now, I think. You inspired me.
I got into this was the Easter egg dye. Mm-hmm.
But I'm just going to do my eyebrows.
All right. Well, listen, it's been great having you on. And so thank you so much for joining us today. And you can find me, Rhonda Boyle, at rhondaboyle.com or in The Very Best You right here on Facebook. Hope to see you soon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye-bye.
Yeah.